Hey, welcome to Bears Banter tonight. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. How everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Man, I think most of us we kind of excited and kind of like, man, the Bears actually fired a coach, huh?
Hey, can we do this one disclaimer right now?
Mm-hmm.
If anybody that's listening to this right now that said before Eberflus got fired, said, "Oh, I knew it was going to happen," you're lying and the truth ain't in you, because it hasn't happened in 105 years. Because Jay sent us the text. I'm at the job and I dropped my coffee on the floor, and I don't drop coffee. I was like, "What?" So
I was at the barbershop. I was at the barbershop, and my phone. I had my phone in my hand. It was like bling. It's like Bears fire head coach Matt Eberflus. I was like, what?
Exactly.
Wow.
I was like, wow.
I got up from a nap.
But the sad thing about it is, y'all know I was one that didn't want him back prior to the season starting.
Right.
And I just feel like after the Hail Mary, I feel like his excuse, giving up that 13-yard pass and saying that it didn't matter, that was the sign. It's almost like the presidency. I ain't gonna name no names, but it's almost like the presidency where you start looking at the president. He's like, did he just say that? He's really sounding incompetent right now. Mm-hmm. And then week after week, it just kept getting worse and worse. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, even after yesterday's game, he was like, well, we felt pretty good with where we were at. Dude, y'all let 32 seconds, 33 seconds. Y'all snapped the ball with 5 seconds left with a timeout in y'all pocket. But you felt pretty good about that?
Mm-hmm. It was almost
just like Smokey said to Craig, you got fired on your.
You know what it looked like? It looked like Fat Elvis from like 1973, not the 65 and 63 Elvis that had all the moves. It just looked like Fat Elvis. So he's like, that's just how Eberflus looked. It's like, and then to hear him at the press conference said, "Oh, I believe we made the right call." Man,
I believe we made the right call too.
Absolutely. 2 weeks too late.
Let's watch that real quick, and then we could jump into the game and talk about the, what we think going forward. Let me see if I could share that screen of the last few minutes of. Okay, y'all can see that.
Nope.
No, don't look like the camera on you.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, let's go.
With a big drive at the end, Caleb Williams took a sack. 2 seconds left on the clock.
Let's go back a little bit.
Oh my God, I gotta watch it again.
Right. Everybody talks about the meat of our schedule. Do y'all realize we just lost 3 division games? 3 division games where we actually could have possibly won. Yeah. People talk about if was a fifth and all that, but I'm gonna tell y'all, the 3 games that everybody said, "Oh, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough." We lost to Green Bay with a blocked field goal. Yeah. We took the Vikings into overtime. We came back from a 16-point deficit against the Detroit Lions, where our defense actually shut them out in the second half. Caleb cooked the entire second half yesterday. He's the only quarterback to throw multiple touchdowns in a game against the Detroit Lions defense all year.
And don't they have the number 1 defense in the league right now?
Yes. And for us to be in those games, the division games where everything was supposed to be so tough, we squandered 3 losses because our coach didn't know how to finish.
Hey, can I ask a question? And it's for Christian. As a quarterback, what did you see from Caleb in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter?
The fourth quarter, he was like his fundamentals, his eyes was going where they needed to go. His fundamentals, his footwork in the pocket, his pocket presence. It's not easy getting hit so many times and still keeping your eyes up where it needs to be. Sometimes you will look around. It happens. But the fact that he just kept his composure and just was firing them, I mean, yeah, he got it. Like, he cold. Like he cold. I'm impressed because he's been hit so many times. You're not counting the pressures. Them the ones that really, really, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, them the ones that mess with you. Getting sacked really don't. It's like getting that pressure in your face consistently. That's what really mess with you. And the fact that he been like standing in that and keeping his eyes down the field, keeping his footwork, his throwing motion is just everything about him is just effortless and just man, it's just spot on. I'm impressed.
Hey, what you have playing? What you thinking?
Well, you know what? What I wanted to do is take a minute just to kind of level set and let people know how bad Eberflus really was. Okay. So first of all, let's go back. We're talking about this year and Eberflus. We lost some close games. Okay, let's go back to last year.
Absolutely.
The Lions, we're up 26-14 with 4 minutes left. That means we had a 91% chance that we were going to win that game. We lost. We played the Browns last year. We're up in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left. We lost that game. We're up against the Broncos last year, 28-7, entering the fourth quarter. We lost that game. This year, we lose to the Commanders in the fourth quarter with a Hail Mary. The Packers in the fourth quarter in the last play with the blocked field goal. The Vikings in overtime. The Lions by not calling a turnover. This is the same thing. Let's put it into just regular people vernacular. Okay, this is like me playing on the playground with a bunch of guys, and we playing a game of 21, and I got 19 points, and some dude goes from 0 to 21 and beats me. That can happen. Imagine that series of events happening for an entire summer. So you play for 90 straight days, and that series of events happen. This is how historically horrible the decisions made by Eberflus have been, and this is why we kind of the laughing stock on the NFL. That's what I got, and I'm angry about it. But I'm gonna give Jay that Thanos glove and let him cook with that.
That was
Great points.
Because you know it's one of those things. It's one of those things. You know, I actually expected to hear something yesterday after the game. Just listening to the commentary from the national audience, listening to CBS after the game, how they talked about it. I listened to Jimmy Johnson on the Fox halftime.
Oh my God!
Of the Cowboys game, how he talked about it. You know, everybody was talking about this is the worst thing that Matt Ryan went in on Matt Eberflus so bad yesterday, and I'm like, I cannot believe this dude is actually flying back to Chicago with this team. It was just that bad. It was just that bad. And like I said before we got on, if y'all re-look at the game in that moment, Eberflus, the look on his face, he was like stuck.
Yep.
It was like he didn't know what to do. He was looking around, and I'm like, okay, the clock is still running. The clock is still running. And I think it's sad that you throw all this stuff on this rookie's plate. He's allowed to go up to the line of scrimmage and make these changes and all these set the protections, but he's not allowed to call a timeout. You don't give him the autonomy to call a timeout. And I just think it's bad. I'm just glad he's gone. It's like 3 games too late. And I'm in this position now where I want to see Thomas Brown, who's going to take over. I want to see him succeed, but I'm trying not to get on the Dr. Quick level. Like, okay, let's see where we're gonna draft at.
I'm tired of that myself. It's only so many times that our answer is gonna be the draft every year. I mean, give me a break.
Right? Yeah, I agree.
You know what? I will say this. I got a birthday coming up in January. I'll be 59 years old. I could tell you somebody who lived in a household with a father who was a staunch Miami Dolphins fan. I've been a Bears fan my entire life. I'm talking about one of the very first T-shirts I got as a kid was a Chicago Bears T-shirt. I love the Bears. I don't like the Bears. I don't casually just jump on one side to another. I've been in this game my entire life. With that being said, we talk about Mike Hartenstein, Dan Jiggins, Bob Avellini. We talking about that type of stuff, Bears. What you just saw with this firing is one of the greatest things that could have ever happened to this franchise. And I think my personal opinion that it's going to remove some of the stigma. And I'm going to tell you why. You ever notice that, like, you ever been in a relationship with somebody and things ain't working out, but you just kind of stay in there because everyone tells you should just run the course. Everything's bad. And when it gets horrible, you just keep going and going. That one time when you decide to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired and leave, then you look back a year later and realize how your life changes. I don't really think people understand the rippling effect that this is going to have. We're talking 105 years that the Bears have not fired a coach before the end of the season. Guess what it does? It doesn't put the players on notice. It puts everybody that's got a contract on notice, like, okay, Warren and them, you know, people can say polls, but Warren sitting back there right now cutting throats like, look, what we going to do? You going to fire him? Okay, let's do this like this. Now it's a whole lot of diva type of players that have either been with the Bears or with the Bears. They sit up, look at this situation right now like, oh, and that's a great thing because guys going to show up to work. And that's all I got. I'm happy.
Yeah, I think what this shows is Kevin Warren is in charge because I believe it was left up to the family only. He would still be here because traditionally the family had never done it. So I think this is their way of saying, Kevin Warren, it's your call, you impose, it's y'all show. I'm assuming this is what happened and they just let them make that decision. And if that's the case, then that's fine for the Bears because that's what you actually do need. You need the people in charge to actually be in charge. And for those who missed the game, what Jay was referring to was that look that he had at the end of the game. But there was a sequence of events that led to that as well. And there was a couple of penalties in that drive right near the end. There was a hands to the face by Jenkins, and that moved them to 2nd and 20. And then the very next play, for some reason, Braxton Jones and Larry Borum just did not block their man at all. They didn't even attempt to block the man. And that sounded like what Caleb said was Larry Borum didn't know the snap count for some reason, and that's why he didn't move. Whatever happened, I think at that point they were pissed off. I think Caleb was pissed off and kind of lost it for a minute because he was on the ground, and I think he's might have panicked a little bit, like, "Hey, man, like we got sacked on this play. Now the two plays they call, we can't run." The coach should have called timeout. He should have called a timeout at that point. He let it go because Caleb doing this. Caleb, like, give me a play now. I think that's what he's saying. He said, give me a play now because those two we was going to call, they're not going to work now because we're 3rd and 26.
It's, you know what, the timeout is a lot bigger than, and we should talk about it. So when you take that timeout, you are now strategizing of what you're gonna do. You got to talk to your special teams coach. All right, you're now getting the special teams coach and saying, look, at this point, when we do make it, we need to be right out on the field. So it's a crucial time period to call that timeout to make sure everybody's on one accord. You tell CB, look, I know you're not gonna get to the sideline. Just get me whatever you can, and we're gonna get out there and we're gonna kick this field goal. That's what should have happened. I don't know. He can't excuse nothing from that because you allowed that sack to come, and then the announcers on the game are saying they're counting down. And then you let them run the play. That's the most egregious part about it. Was you even had until you could have wasted time and it been like 20 seconds and you call a timeout. Then you like, look, man, get your stuff together. But at least you got time still. But you ran the play. Ain't no clock. At this point, that's it. You gonna run the play or that's it. And that's the most egregious part about it. And that's what got him fired because you left the game with a timeout.
The most egregious part about that was after they asked him at the podium, he said, I thought we had a good play and I would do the exact same thing again. And you're like,
Yep.
What?
Nah,
Baby, you just gambled away our entire house, 300 years of savings. Man, don't you wish you could have that back? No, baby, I would do the same thing again.
Don't forget.
Hey, what's up,
don't
James
forget
Gilmore?
the
We ain't
Lions-
talked to James in about
the Lions whole coaching staff was all confused when the game was over because they didn't know what happened. They were confused. You looked at what's his name? What's the head coach over there?
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Dan Campbell.
Dan
He
Campbell.
was
They
like,
look confused
he
too.
was scratching.
He was
his head.
like-
He was
It was so much confusion.
Like,
It was so
they
much
started
confusion going on. The Lions didn't even know they won the game. That's just how much confusion was going on. But Christian, you're right. How many times have you practiced that? Like, okay, call the timeout. It's third down. We're gonna call 2 plays. We're gonna call 2 plays. Now, if you get the first down, then you run the field goal unit on. But what happens is, like you said, you get everybody set. You call that timeout. The field goal unit is standing right there on the sideline. So whenever that play is over, they running straight on the field. That's head coach 101.
That's so true.
It's
So
just,
true.
the time was going to run out.
Competence. It's just competence. And to watch Matt Eberflus looking up at that clock as the clock was ticking yesterday, I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
Then he said he was going to rack the play. How, sir?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have no time.
Because what happened was Caleb wound up calling the play, changing the play, as he realized, like, okay, you know what, this is our last play. I got to go to the end zone.
He shouldn't even got to that point. As soon as he took that sack,
it should have been a timeout.
Because at this point, you need your best play to get into field goal range to kick the field goal.
I don't know if you know this or not, but during your senior year, y'all were playing Bogan for homecoming. I'm standing on the sideline with the head coach. And the coach is just running play after play, and you guys are getting yards. And I said, it's about 2 minutes left. And I looked at the coach. I said, Coach, you're not going to try to, win the game? You're just trying to run out the clock? He said, yeah, I'm going to run out the clock. I said, but we're down. And the coach looked and said, well, the problem with him is he couldn't tell by looking at the scoreboard in Stagg Field. He didn't realize they were down. But it was kind of the same thing. And by the time he realized it, the clock ran out and we ended up losing the game. And I'm like, I can't believe anything like that could ever happen. And I just saw this happen at the professional
I just want to
level.
make one point. You guys, most people look at an NFL game and they see coaches going off on referees about this call wasn't this and that. What a lot of people don't see is great head coaches in that situation would be like Cow. I'm going to do my Cower without trying to cuss. If that GD clock get to 25 and he don't call a GD timeout or they don't run a GD play, give me a GD timeout. And guess what? The coach walks back over there when the 25-second thing hits, beep, and it fixes everything. But what happens is so many people have talked about, the players do this, the players do that. As I mentioned in the post, when it comes to a football team in that situation, you have to have one adult in the room, and that adult has to be the coach. He has to sit up and look. And first of all, what he needs to do is look up and look at the body language of the players. If Caleb's on doing this as a coach, I'm like, time out, because I don't know if he's got a communication problem. I don't know if he understands, but if I call a timeout, now we get the reset, and then I'll maybe throw a play to the sidelines, or maybe run the play up the middle closer to the field goals like the kickers liking, and rush them guys out there and boom.
Hey, I find it very ironic that I would say this. My personal first complaint about Flus when he first got hired was he don't use timeouts. That's ironic that he's not being fired because he not only did not use a timeout, but it's basic game management. But that's one of the things we have been talking about from year one, that he would go to halftime with timeouts left. He would end the game with timeouts left, regardless if there was like a team have a momentum and stuff like that. So what this actually showed was he had not grown on time management of a game. in situational management.
Mhm.
And one last thing to take words out of Jay mouth is to say you can't trust a rookie to do certain things in a game. And this is what they tried to do all year. They have tried to put the success of this franchise solely on the shoulders of Caleb Williams, which is unfair to have a rookie to try to carry any inefficiencies that your team may have.
I
What you got, Jay?
wouldn't even
But
want
my
that
thing
on.
is that though. But my thing is that though, if you gonna put all that on a rookie, then allow him to call the timeout.
Yep.
I wouldn't even want that on my
Right.
star player.
You know,
though,
like I
because
say, you give it to him. He has the autonomy to come to the line, change protections, change plays, but he can't call a timeout. You just put all this on him, but the one thing that he can't do, which is crucial in the game, is call a timeout. And I just really want to go back to another thing where I was talking about how Flus looked dazed. We always joked about it since his tenure here, how it was like, this dude don't call no timeouts. Now he's throwing challenge flags.
Oh my God.
yeah,
I threw a challenge flag because, that's an explosive play right there. What are you talking about, dude? This don't even make sense. Just because they had an explosive play, you're going to call a challenge?
Hey, Bernard,
What are you doing?
Can you pull
What are you
James
doing?
Gilmore's quote back up a second? It may be an organization problem. They waited till the last second to fire him. Well, I don't know, because you know what? Well, here's the deal. It's not, and the reason why I say this, James, is this. We have not fired a coach before the end of the season in 105 years. Sometimes you just got to say, the thing for me that's wonderful, and I'm not out here, although I could be popping my collar about a guy getting fired, but it's not even about that. What it is you want to set a precedent. What it lets me know is the organization had enough trust in Warren and Poles to pull the trigger for the first time in the franchise history. That's huge. Now, if this team had been accustomed to firing guys during the middle of the season, I totally got it. And he said it's a bad joke. I totally get it, but this is the first time. And a lot of times what happens is some people don't want that on their head to be like, man, I was the first one to do it because it could go any way. But I got to give kudos to Poles and Warren for being the ones that stand up regardless of how this plays out 5, 10, 15 years from now. I give them all the credit in the world for being first.
But
hey, let me hit Christian right quick. I know Christian been patient.
I'm so sorry, Chris. I'm sorry, brother.
No, y'all fine. I was just gonna say, and Jay know this and Plank know this as well. You practice that stuff, and last week against the Vikings, Keenan Allen was saying on the fourth down when Santos and them came off that it was confusion. Then that's letting me know that they don't practice that. And then two with Flus, my issue with him is I just don't think he's ready to be a head coach because he keep allowing stuff to get to the bad situations to then decide to want to change. Like with Shane Waldron, you knew Buddy wasn't capable of being like no offensive coordinator, but yet he was still the one that they made a report about that he wanted to keep him and not fire him, and Poles is the one that made that call. So
he should have known.
Yeah, Buddy needed to be gone. Period. Because at that point, you can't do that to your team.
Right. Like I say, everybody aspires to be a head coach. When you coach in the game, everybody aspires to be a head coach. Some people just not head coaches. That's a lot of responsibility. Buddy Ryan was a great defensive coordinator. Great.
Yep.
Bad head coach. Vic Fangio, great defensive coordinator. Bad head coach.
Yes.
Everybody cannot accept that responsibility. That's why everybody talk about Ben Johnson. Or the Bears should go out to Ben Johnson. How do we know Ben Johnson is going to be a good head coach?
Isn't he Nagy 2.0?
Right. Just because you can call plays, that don't mean you can call plays, handle the special teams, handle the defense. You got everybody in your ear as a head coach.
Right.
Everybody can't do it. You got your McVays. You got your LaFleurs. You got your Shanahan. You got them guys. That's not everybody. And whatever happened with the Bears, I just want them to get it right. This has been 3 years in a row where we have drafted a quarterback, and on their second year, they got a new head coach and a new offensive coordinator. it has totally repeated itself. The last 3 times we have drafted a quarterback in the first round, he has that one coach, and then he's starting all over again.
Yeah,
About it is
because
Caleb
ownership
Williams.
hired them coaches.
Caleb Williams has the
GM.
mental fortitude, and you know, I tell people that I don't like Caleb Williams. I talk to my mom; she still ain't convinced. Caleb Williams ain't the guy. Let me tell y'all something. This dude has the football intelligence to overcome everything that he just overcame in his first 12 games in the NFL.
No, he got it.
Speaking of which,
I just want him to get it right.
If they had,
he got it.
kudos to Caleb Williams. He broke 2 rookie records where people got to pay attention to that. First, he got the most yards, the best rookie season ever from the Chicago Bears. I know that's not saying a lot, but he actually did it. Second, he broke the rookie record for the lowest number of passes between interceptions. So 213 straight passes.
In the NFL, not even for the Bears, in the NFL.
Correct.
This dude has went 213 consecutive passes without throwing an interception. That's an NFL rookie. This dude is the real deal.
You know what I will say?
They just need they need to put some pieces in place for him.
I will say this, and I want people to listen to what I say, and I don't want them to take this and put it out in the stratosphere. Caleb Williams has like his talent level as far as what I've seen in my lifetime as quarterbacks, and I know you guys can kind of opine however you want to. Some of the qualities he has, I'm looking at like a rookie Marino or a rookie like Peyton Manning. It's not to say that he's as great as them, but some of the passes he's making and some of the quarterback vernacular that he's doing, it's on that line. And he could be like on this level and those guys are up there. But from what I've seen with quarterbacks, he's like this guy's the next best toy. And I look at him like he just looked like everybody else. But this kid right here, he's got some intangibles where I've seen some decisions he's made, some passes he made. I'm like, whoa. And he's not throwing picks.
Yeah, you know what? If I remember that last.
Go ahead, but not.
As I say, I'm sorry. If I remember this last drive correct, to kind of make some comments about Caleb, is this drive started on the 1 yard line?
Yep.
If I remember this,
1 foot yard line.
Think about what we would be talking about if they had managed this game properly. He would have drove the Bears 99 yards
again
to either tie the game, right? Attempt to tie the game with a field goal and make it, or take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when have we seen that? And from a Chicago Bears quarterback, especially in a game where we had a goose egg at halftime, that take a 99-yard drive. And it's interesting how some fans, and they will watch that game, and the only take that they will have from that game is how Caleb took a sack in that situation. You know what's happening in a situation like that? I made a video today. Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong will go wrong. The players got to get out of that mindset because the coach has said that. So it almost seemed like the players at some point are going to, and it could be any of them, they're going to make this mistake in those important moments too, because the coach has that right now.
I mean,
Keenan Allen said it best yesterday.
Right,
he was
and
like,
you don't want that in your locker room. You don't want that feeling in your locker room. You want that feeling that we could overcome whatever situation that happens.
Keenan Allen said it best. He was like, the players play good enough to win this game.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He said the players played well enough to win this game today. It's an indictment, and it's been happening ever since the Commanders lost. Every week you hear a player come out and say something. That's an indictment against the coach. Yes. And I was listening to Courtney Cronin on ESPN this morning, and she said this was the first time she actually went in the locker room after a loss, and it was just like they was kicking it. Yeah. They was in there kicking it, like, oh well, this is what we used to, because they had tuned him out by that time.
Did you guys hear the press conference with Caleb Williams as far as what he was talking about when he was explaining what happened? I would love to hear what you guys got to say about that, because I was listening. I was like,
Well, I got something to say about that. So actually with Eberflus, my main problem He had this entire system that he wanted to put in place and implement that tied itself to accountability. The problem with that is he only tied it to other people's accountability. You can't sit back there and be in a leadership position and say, I need people to be accountable. And when you screw up, you're not accountable about anything. That's where you end up losing the rest of your troops. That's where you lose everybody else following you.
The players have to execute. We call the plays, but we call the plays, and the players have to execute. No. You can't put that on the players. Although y'all know I'm a player, y'all need to execute person. But at the same time, is when you mismanage the game clock the way you did, and the timeouts, the challenges, and all that stuff is on you, dude. For you to say that you called yesterday's challenge on Williams' fumble, we was all texting each other like, "Oh, that wasn't a football move." We sitting on our couch. We sitting on our couch saying like, "Okay, it could be bad." This dude throws the challenge flag. And he said today, he said in the press conference yesterday, he was like, well, it came from upstairs where we thought he made 3 steps. What did you see 3 steps at on that play, bruh? Now you so we're saying that Flu's going to the locker room with timeouts in his pocket. He's like, okay, I'm going to show them. I'm going to throw a flag. So if I don't call 2 timeouts, I'm at least going to use 1 on the challenge. Come on, bruh. You lost it. You lost it. And I cannot believe, but I knew it this morning when I was listening to the radio this morning and they were saying that his press conference was canceled. I started to maturely text y'all this morning like, I think Flu's gonna get fired. I think he's gonna get fired. But then they did do the press conference. And it was like I listened to it. It was like 10 minutes. It was like a 10-minute presser. And I'm like, something is up. I'm like, this speaks to high heaven right here. Something is up. And then about an hour later, it came on my phone. I'm like, yup. I knew it though. They couldn't survive that. They couldn't yesterday. They couldn't survive yesterday's debacle. They couldn't. If he would have been coach in San Francisco next week, if we ate the laughing stock of the NFL, we would have been last week.
But we are.
Yeah,
next week.
we are. And you know what? This is when it got bad to me. When you look at it from a fan's perspective, is it was in the Colts? Was it Colts game? No, not the Colts game. The Colts game when they ran that speed option on the goal line. And at that press conference, because nationally people were laughing at that play. And his press conference after the game didn't seem to think that nothing was wrong with that. At that point, you should have been questioning your offensive coordinator to kind of like making sure he, and what he started saying after that is we need to run the ball more. Okay, you're not saying nothing to the guy about running the ball more, but you don't run those kind of plays. But it showed that he had no command of the game. And he was too busy doing games, looking at his play sheet, that he couldn't manage the time of the game. He couldn't manage situations. And when stuff even challenges, he don't even know what's going on. I don't even think he even knew what was going on that play until he looked up and saw everybody like he was still looking like what happened.
And like I said, even the Lions, they was looking around like, how a team win a game and everybody rushing on the field to celebrate. Everybody's looking around like, what just happened? But it goes back to the Commanders game. And I hate to keep harping on that. But as a head coach, when your offensive coordinator in a crucial game that you've been struggling to score points, you chasing points. You're chasing points. And you had and it comes in your head said like, we're going to get the ball to Doug Kramer. At that time, he should have been like, oh, no. As a head coach, at that time, that's when you assert your authority over your offensive coordinator. But you allowed your offensive coordinator in a crucial moment to call that play, and you was all right with that. And he said, well, we was all right with that because we thought that was a good play at that time. Are you serious right now?
But
the reason he did that is so he could have somebody as a scapegoat. Last year it was always Getsy. This year, I want Waldron to be around because if I remove him, guess what? it's gonna insulate me. I'm not insulated anymore. Then everybody started looking at me, which strangely enough is exactly what happened. As soon as Waldron gets fired, they put Thomas Brown in place. The offense looks 100% better. They still losing the game. They say, wait a minute, let us get a look at this. What is the common denominator? And the common denominator was Eberflus.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this before we move on to the game. And I said this to y'all a couple of weeks ago when they was talking about firing Eberflus. I was like, okay, who's going to take over as the head coach? Because this staff and a lot of these coaches, particularly with Bears coaches, over the last few coaches that we've had, anytime they hire their staff, they have no one that could be like an interim coach. You know, because they feel threatened. Because to me, there is no way you interview Cliff Kingsbury, who actually coached Caleb Williams, and you just drafted you're drafting Caleb Williams. There's no way Cliff Kingsbury shouldn't have not been the offensive coordinator on this team. But Eberflus was like, oh, I can't do that because if I get fired, then they gonna hire Cliff Kingsbury. So I need to surround myself. You know, that conversation that we have all the time. You know, you surround yourself with people that you feel that you're smarter than. That way it makes you feel better about yourself. And if you look at this coaching staff, they really have nobody on this coaching staff that has any head coaching experience. I thought John Hope might have been the person that they elevated, but I'm happy for Thomas Brown. So I hope it work out. We'll see what happens.
Head coach.
Yeah, Jay, I would say the only body Nagy had Brad Childress as a consultant his first year, which is maybe why they first year the offense looked a little competent, right? Because you know, it was after the first season, his offense went
12-4, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what, though? I will say this for some of you young folks out here. I know we talk about old heads, but us old heads understand this whole thing like when we were kids. Remember, you know, not talking about daddy, because daddy was the guy that basically didn't have to do nothing to you. He just looked at you and you just instilled this fear. But as young men, as little boys, our DNA is to learn the principles to protect our mom and to protect our women. So sometimes we kind of get in our feelings about stuff. You ever notice when you was a kid, you'd be like, take that garbage. I ain't gonna take that garbage out. Your mama slap you into a whole nother scene. And after the slap come, you'd be like, yeah, let me get a half dark, mild sauce and such and such. That's what happened with the Bears because we needed that reset button. It's just everything is in disarray. And what I noticed, and I'm not saying that it wasn't a blank thing, what I know that the team kind of sort of checked out on him, that pass he threw the doggone DJ Moore, and it's right here, and it bounced off his chest. And I'm like, not an elite receiver.
Which was the same pass that he caught against the Vikings the other day. To me, that was Caleb's best pass against the Vikings. That pass traveled 31 yards on a rope.
And it was right here.
And it was right there in his chest. And that same play yesterday, DJ couldn't make. But I want to say, Plank, we gonna FedEx the Thanos glove to my brother because he said everything.
I was just looking for it.
Chris Beasley Senior
He's a little angry, man.
Chris Beasley Senior mad. This dude called me yesterday. He called me yesterday. He said, "Hey, I know it's Thanksgiving, but I just want to say something. All right, I'll talk to you later." And then later on after the game, he called me again. It went to my voicemail, all caps, like, this blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. Chris Beasley Senior mad. That bro mad. I feel your pain, Chris. I feel your pain, bro. For real.
Let's move a little bit to the game. Hey, Christian, actually, I want to start with you as we kind of move into the game. And if y'all like to go back talking about the firing, that's cool too. You know, So I will say that there was a comment by Jimmy Red, who sometimes come in as a guest about Caleb did good, and he does make some high throws, which I agree. There are some throws that he still missed, but even with that, he's playing good football. What do you see, Christian?
I think the only thing that I want to see him improve on is his deep ball. He putting too much. He not putting enough air on it. He often overthrowing people. That comes with time. It's a difference doing it in college, Jay, than doing it in the pros. In the pros, you literally got to throw it to a spot. In college, you literally can throw it to a person because you're wide open. And I just think that's just a bit of a. It's something that's gonna take time. He just got to rep it more. As far as his intellect and his knowledge of the game, I'm very impressed. I was really impressed on how he did against the Vikings because that can confuse you. Yeah, because they walk so many people up, and you don't know who's who. And I know some people. One day we're gonna do it on a board where I can show people because you think the Mike. You'll think, oh, that's the Mike linebacker, but that's not how we as players look at it.
Right.
It'll be whoever is who's three linebacker types. Whoever that safety walk down that nickel, he's considered a Mike, or he could be considered a Mike. And the fact that he was able to not throw not a single pick.
Yep.
Yes, he got sacked, but some of them sacks was not on him. So for me, I'm looking at him saying, okay, he struggled. He had 3 games where he struggled. But man, this second half, bro, been playing like he's been in the league for about 2 years. I've not seen that. Now everybody know on this show I'm a Justin fan, but he got Justin on a whole different level as far as like what he sees. Like he sees stuff that I'm like, there's no way you should be knowing this. You only a rookie. I ain't never seen a rookie be able to do that. And I was looking at some of the stuff that he audibles. Some of it does be wrong. Some of it, a lot of it do be right though. Like that's the thing. Like some of it do be wrong. Like when he checks into the wrong play, that you can tell because it'll be messed up. Like that bubble screen that they threw last week to that was a wrong play that he checked into. And I knew it then. I was like, something not right. And then they end up on an interview talking about it. So I'm impressed. You get him some pieces on the line. Oh man, you
hey, Kristen,
this dude was
real
83%. This dude was 83% against the blitz.
Yeah,
on the Brian Flores defense. That is insane.
But the thing was, he knew where he was going with the thing was he knew where the blitz was coming from. He knew he wasn't wrong at one time in that game. He made one audible that was wrong because I guess it was a miscommunication between him and TB. But as far as he was clean as far as that. I mean, some throws that happens, but man, his eyes, oh my God.
Hey, Chris, I want to ask you a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Now, I want to ask you a question, Chris, because see, me and Bernard have been talking about this, like the bubble, trips right, diamond. We were talking about the difference between Waldron having the trips closer to the line of scrimmage as opposed to Brown moving them out a little more. And now he, instead of just snapping it and doing a happy feet thing, when he moved it out, he snapped it and he popped it. And they're starting to break off yards. I need you to explain to the general public the difference between the two being closer and further away.
So the distance helps. 2 is very simple. His bubble screens, you don't know if they're actual screens or if they're actual pass. And that's what's confusing people because he sets it up perfect. Like, I don't know what Waldron was doing, but I can tell you what TV does. He does a lot of stuff that he's gonna get back to in the next future. Like that pass that it was off of a jerk route. The third, I think it was the second touchdown pass he threw to Allen. He ran that previous and they just missed it. But he did it in a different formation. So a lot of these things that you see in bubble, you see him run a lot of 3-stack or a diamond or some form of trips. You will see him in that formation. He'll run out of that formation. You will see him do wide zone out of that formation. And when it's time to throw, you don't know if it is a bubble or not. That's why it's been hitting. Well, Waldron, he will throw a screen, but you never seen him run another play out of that formation.
Right.
So when it comes, you sitting on it.
I'll tell you what.
Stuff made sense.
Sorry about that, Chris. A couple things about Caleb Williams. First of all, he is doing wonderfully leading the team from an instructor standpoint.
Yep.
When he calls the plays, you can see him executing the play exactly like it's supposed to be. And this is one of the places that was supposed to be his weakness. Number two, he's really good at game time and situation recognition. So a lot of times what we've seen is not only is he doing it with his arm, but sometimes he's like, okay, it's 4th and 8. I got nobody open. I can actually run for this first down. And he's been using his legs. And it was even one run yesterday where he ended up taking on a DB and running them over in order to get to the chains. That lets you know he knows exactly where he needs to be. One thing that he probably still needs to work on a little bit, from time to time, his footwork gets out of balance. That's why he ends up missing some of the throws that should be easier throws. For example, that drag route with DJ Moore, Caleb's footwork was off, so that's why he ended up missing it. Had he actually had good footwork on that, we probably looking at a play that would DJ Moore could have got to inside the 10-yard line.
Hey, before we get to the game, you know I got to go with Jay with this one. What do you think about that Keenan Allen touchdown route?
Oh my God! That's what you call a DB nightmare. I was looking at that like, oh my God!
I'm sorry, man, Jay. I had to hear what you had to say on this one.
Hey, when you talk about footwork and being able to dictate where you want to go, and it doesn't matter what the DB think he knows. That was picture perfect.
That was ugly.
It don't get no better than that. But that's a savvy veteran route right there. And when you stick your foot in the ground and you twist twice and then go in the opposite direction, you can't beat that. That's picture perfect. That route was a red zone picture perfect route. It don't get no better than that.
That was ugly. It was
ugly.
ugly.
I tell y'all what though, they getting close. We ain't really seen the breakout game from Caleb yet. I know it's crazy. Y'all like, dang, he just did. It's coming to where it's gonna really look easy for the guy. It really, when he puts it together, see, it's amazing how like when he's an empty, he really is comfortable. But once he really gets this thing together, it's gonna look nasty out there. I feel bad for whoever gonna play us because what he did yesterday was impressive. I mean, that's one of the top defenses in the NFL, and you came back and we lost by 3 points, and it wasn't because of him. We used to say that we lost because of quarterback. Yesterday it wasn't because of him. Like that's impressive.
You know, Chris Beasley had mentioned a throw to DJ. I'm not sure which throw he was referring to, but what I was gonna say earlier was the throw to DJ. The touchdown. Okay, that's what I was gonna mention earlier. This was interesting about that touchdown throw. His footwork, he didn't even step into that throw. He actually had pressure coming at him, so he actually stopped his foot and he used all arm. And what that play showed also, and what we're seeing as the game developed, you're starting to see the different speeds of his ball. He lost that ball. Then you seen times where he threw balls on a rope. Then you seen where he threw floaters. Right. And in some quarterbacks, what you see, especially when they have rocket arms, I'd take it like a Jay Cutler. All his balls were one speed. All of them was like boom, boom, right? And when your quarterback could change speeds on the ball, right, on how close a guy is, and that's like Christian saying, he just got to work on the deep ball to know when he needs to put enough air, because you can see he's still trying to fill it out, right? Because sometimes it's with the different players. Some players run on the balls and they're good at it, and you know they speed. Some players you don't. So it seemed like some players he really don't know their speed. So it's kind of seemed like he's like, should I throw it out in front of him? But man, this guy is gonna be special. That's all I wanted to say. He's gonna be special.
I'm gonna add to that. we live in a world to where we always do like a comparison of players, and it never pans out. But when we heard him, the first person they said was Pat Mahomes, and I'm gonna say, yeah, it's
Yep.
it's good, it's kind of there.
Hey, because
You
even the
know,
play yesterday,
it's kind of there. Yeah,
even the play
he,
yesterday where
yeah,
he rolled down to the sideline and he thought that everybody thought he was gonna go out of bounds, and then he wound up and just pitched it to DJ Moore.
but
That's
the
Patrick
difference,
Mahomes.
yeah, but the difference between him is Pat didn't play right away. He came
Right.
into a situation
Right.
and they never had a quarterback, unproven coach, iffy OC. He don't really got the best of the best. I'm not saying we don't know what Thomas Brown is yet. I'm praying and hoping that he is that guy. But he didn't come into something that was able to help develop what was already in him. He's kind of like getting it himself. So who knows what really he would be if we did have a guy like that. So yeah, this is the first time that I would say, because it's kind of like Mike Jordan, but they didn't play at the same time almost. Like Jordan was coming out. Like Pat Mahomes walking into his prime right now. And Caleb is coming in, and you seeing a guy do something that a guy in his prime is doing in his first year. That's crazy to see him play at this level and to have these many pass attempts and not even be close to throwing a pick. Not
Hey, you
even
know what?
close.
I'm gonna put some grays in y'all hair real quick. You know what that doggone lob pass reminds me of? Remember the Cleveland Browns cardiac kids with Brian Sipe? He's that two-step drop to either Ricky Feature or Ozzie Newsome. He's just lobbed that joker up, and when they catch the ball, it was like, I don't care if your defender was either playing next to you or behind you, it would drop right here. When I saw Caleb do that pass, I'm like, man, that's all I got.
I'm gonna start calling Chris and Jay the Thanos brothers, man. Them beasties are going, man. I'm like,
And you know what?
man.
And you know what? And like I tell people, the sad thing about it, man, me and Chris, 13 months and 5 days apart. So we almost twins.
Irish twins.
And we've been going to Soldier Field since we was teenagers.
Yeah.
So this has been, we've been watching since we were kids. But when we were old enough to go to Soldier Field, we've been going to Soldier Field for a long time, man. And it's a passion. It really is. And like I say, after I told y'all off camera, after that Green Bay game, I almost cried, bro. I'm so serious because I could not believe that the coaching staff screwed that game up. And it's been every from the Commanders game on down. Like I said, the only games that we actually lost was the Patriots and the Arizona Cardinals because we didn't come to play. Two teams that everybody said that we should have beat. We didn't come to play.
You couldn't play.
But the games that count and nobody gave us a chance, I was looking at everybody predict the score. They're like 45-10, 30-3. Every game, every division game that we played,
tight.
Come on,
I wasn't afraid of the Lions. I just kept saying that to begin with.
Yep. And the bottom line is we should have beat them twice last year.
Yep.
And I tell people, for some reason, matchups count. I was watching the Raiders in Kansas City today. Kansas City still lost today. Because the Raiders match up well. We've always matched up well against the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, in our division too. It's kind of hard to do that against a division foe.
Division game.
Yeah, you tell us to play somebody else that's not in our division, we likely will get like some points put on us, but not our division. So when people were saying all that, I'm like, no, it's a division game. Like, y'all know what y'all talking about. It's gonna be closer than what y'all think.
And like
Them players out there, they got pride. They might be millionaires, but they got pride. They ain't trying to lose.
As much as the Bears got gassed, they got gassed on the ground yesterday.
They did.
But it was all between the 20s, though.
Hey, can I put some
between the 20s?
Can I put something out there real quick? As I'm looking at the stats, now, mind you, we're not talking about a quarterback. We're talking about a rookie quarterback. Caleb was 20 of 39 for 256 yards, 3 TDs, no picks, a rating of 97.8. This is a rookie. You know, and I'm looking at it, and now you're seeing DJ Moore start to eat a little more. Eight receptions, 97 yards. Now, what me and Bernard are, you know, we really get into is a whole running game thing. And I understand that a lot of times when we're behind, you have to pass the ball a little more. But by the same token, I think now with the ultimate reset button with the slap in the face, I'm hoping that Bears football can go back to Bears football. Because as I've said before, we were number 2 in rush last year. We were number 1. If you got a Caleb Williams in that scenario where we're playing like we're the number 2 or the number 1 rushing team in the league, imagine what this kid can do, man. It changes the whole dynamic of everything that we do.
But I want to challenge you on that, guy.
Yes, sir.
Is to actually think about. I was telling somebody on the page today. They was talking about the Bears need to get back to running. I was like, don't let the numbers skew us though, because Fields had a lot to, you know, and he had a lot to do with that. Yeah. He had a lot to do with that. And Caleb is not going to give you that.
Right.
Caleb is not going to give you that. You know, I don't know if it was last year or year before last where the Bears was the number 1 running game in the
last
NFL.
Year.
And he had 1,000 yards.
With a bad offensive line. And so, you know, that number is kind of skewed.
Right.
But, you know, Poles came into this with this offensive line thinking that he kind of put mascara on it.
Patchwork.
And the mascara is running. It's a cheap mascara. It ain't what's that cosmetic line?
Fabergé.
It ain't the good mascara. Put it that way. It ain't the good mascara. No. It ain't the good mascara. You know, it's the cheap stuff from Walgreens. It ain't from Macy's. You know, so you know, he tried to put the mascara on it and it didn't work. But you know, the running game, I think we've never had a chance in a game this year where we actually could just lean on our running game because we're trying to salt the clock or anything like that. We've been playing from behind all season long. I still don't think the Bears have scored a touchdown on our opening drive this year.
Ooh, this is gonna be interesting.
I don't think so.
I think this that play y'all talking about, Jay. When they talking about the route
Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
don't show that, man. Don't show that, Bernard. That'll give me DB nightmares.
Oh my god, this is stupid. This is so stupid.
I'm gonna help you out in a minute, though, Plank.
Watch
I'm gonna make you feel better real quick.
1, 2.
Hello, let's run this again.
Hey, Plank. Because I love you, you my guy. All I got to do is say one name. Kendall.
1, 2, bam!
Ow,
look at that. He's still wide open.
Look, Kendall, adult toy. On that play. Remember when that flag got called and we saw the back of that jersey? I was cracking
Kendall
up.
Vildor, yeah.
Blake's gonna feel pretty good about that one. So,
oh my God, that
was
I think
nasty,
this is man.
I think this is the next one. Hold on. You know what? And you know what? In a few days, me and Christian and whoever want to come back, we're gonna do the 2-minute drill where we'll be able to break down some more of these plays more in depth. I think this is the touchdown to DJ.
This is why DBs need a short memory, man, because that'll be a nightmare, man.
Yep. Look at the face.
Now, watch this. He's not even able to step into this throw. Because of the pressure of the tackle being pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's
He
all
put it exactly where he needed to be, though, man.
If you drop it in the bucket, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a catch.
You can't teach that either. You got it or you don't.
Or you
but
you don't.
see, sometimes that's what comes back to bite them. You know, so you make these great plays without.
You're right. You're exactly right. Yep, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
But I'm encouraged though. I believe that relationship is getting there between him and TV because He was playing some bad football and doing some really bad stuff under Waldron. And these last couple of games, he's been. I mean, man, he just snapped out of it. So
Man, now y'all got me scared of Keelan Allen because of that hairstyle. When his helmet came off, he looked like a clown. So I thought of him as Pennywise from It. Man, he give you a nightmare, man. I don't want to see that guy running routes at me, man. That's terrible.
Hey, but you know what? I'm gonna run something by because me and Bernard, when we had our show, Kristen, Justin, Plank, I was running something because when we did our show, we were talking. I said am I freezing?
No, Plank was.
Oh, the difference between a Waldron or a Brown is this: there's an accountability factor. Like with Waldron, a lot of times what they go in, like we use Geno Smith for example. This dude was in the league for almost 6 years before he got to Waldron. He's seen 4 different offenses, and he sat on the sideline. So his interpretation of understanding plays will be much more advanced than Caleb says right now as a rookie. Now, what I like what Brown does, Brown seems to me like the type of guys like, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to run this go, we're going to do this or whatever it is. What is the Z doing? Okay, well, what happens at the Z if the corner is running parallel to him? What are you going to do? As opposed to thinking that he already knows it. It's almost like a teaching thing, and I'm talking about in practice, though. Not in the game, but in practice. And when you're kind of like holding guys accountable in regards to understand and see if they understand what they're seeing, it makes it a little easier because that's one less thing to think about when you get in the game. With Waldron, it's almost like a narcissistic type deal, thinking, oh, you're a hotshot quarterback, you're supposed to know this and all that stuff. And when he screws up the play, it's like they look at the player. That's why I was saying I like the teacher who's a coach as opposed to a coach who's a teacher. Because when a teacher who's a coach, by the time that player gets to a game, the last thing they need, they'll be thinking about is the play because they already know and they've gone through it.
Hey, thank everybody for tuning in to Bears Banter tonight. I know we're going to go a little long, man. We got a nice viewing audience out there tonight. Please hit the subscribe button. We'd like to get to 850 subscribers by the end of the season. I think we're currently at about 807. Hey, when you look at this game, there were some plays that kind of ruined their own drives. Like, for example, you had two plays where Komet was called for a pick play. Yeah, that kind of almost killed the drive. Matter of fact, I think one of them did kill the drive.
With DJ. With Komet.
Yeah, with Komet. You did have I don't know what happened to Darnell Wright in that game. It's like all of a sudden he just wasn't in the game. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got hurt. He got hurt.
Knee injury.
He had knee injury. Okay. So when we had a few, but you know what, we're experiencing less false starts since TB has taken over.
Yeah.
So to me, it's showing there's some discipline, and also we see a less of Gerald Everett. Yeah, Gerald Everett on the offense.
Thank God.
That's good because those plays need to be going to Komet, not Gerald Everett. You know, you could bring him in to help the block. Defensively, I thought they was getting gashed early in the game, but they did a good job keeping them to field goals. And I do think Detroit got a little cocky when they tried to run the little play where they tried to have the lineman come
the tackle throwing the ball.
Yeah. Really? You don't need that. You really didn't need that. But they really improved. But the Bears are missing Brisker and they are missing Billings. So they got to find a way to shore that up because that was concerning. But I did think they did a good job on St. Brown yesterday of containing him.
They did.
And even though both backs ran good, they eventually contained those guys. And as much as we might have looked and said Montgomery's getting off, when it came down to it, I don't think Montgomery even got a touchdown yesterday, did he?
Nope, he did not. He was 21-88, 4.2 average, no touchdowns. The receiving, he was 3 for 36 with 12 with long 19. He's like no touchdowns. But I'm on Ross St. Brown had 5 receptions for 73, but he had 7 targets. And he's like your marquee guy. And to be quite frank with you, regardless of what happens, if he's only got 73 yards, that's not too bad.
Hey, Gino said Hey, y'all better stop slurping and mute y'all mic when y'all slurping on Drake.
No comment, Gino.
Hey, thank you for pointing that out.
Hey, I was gonna say,
'Cause you don't really know how you don't know how it may translate on others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just they both just called me. Was like, hey, stop flipping on your drink.
Right. Oh wow! Look, hey, you know what's really funny? I'm looking at now the other side of defense. Byard had 10 tackles with 5 solos. Owens has 8 with 2. Which is interesting. Is like we've
Owens
always
balled out.
Yeah, he did. And the interesting part about it is, I mean, you want guys to make tackles, but by the same token, just like something that Plank has been talking about for years, you got a problem when you're 2 guys who
When
are
you're
the guys
secondary.
lead attackers, your secondary guys. Let's see. Edwards and Edmonds are both 6'6" and 5'3". Then you got Tyreek Stevenson with 5'3". It's like interesting that it just lets you know the guys are getting to the second level. So I mean, I don't know what Briscoe's gonna do. I don't know what's gonna happen after this week. I hope he can come back. But if he's
Sounds
not,
like he is.
yeah, that would be great for us, man.
We need.
You know, also having problems with concussion. Roshan Johnson is having
You're
problems with
right.
concussion.
Yeah, he
He
did.
missed
He
quite a
got-
few games last year with a
he
concussion.
sure did.
He was out yesterday. Concussion protocol. The Bears may have to look at another back because he's a power back. So
Right.
Yeah. And another safety. You're right.
Yeah.
Concussion protocol is a real thing. So, that's something we're gonna have to have to pay attention to. So I'm hoping those guys can overcome it. That it allows them to have a long career, but even more important than that, they end up being healthy, man. Because once you see those lights go out enough times, a couple times, the lights ain't gonna come back on.
Right. That's so true. That is so true.
Hey, so Gino
Probably
asked if
not.
you're gonna be able to re-sign Allen. He's been balling. I think they could re-sign him if he wants to be here.
Not at 30 million.
If he wants to be here,
I mean,
he's
I
gonna
really
have to
think-
bring that. He's gonna have to bring that price down if he wants to be here.
Right.
If
Yeah,
he
well, I really
wants
think
the money-
Keenan. I think
okay.
Keenan Allen is a smart guy. If he wants to stay here in Chicago, I think he'll sign a contract that will actually
Team friendly.
keep him here in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It's a lot. With the firing of Eberflus, and now we got to find a new coach, and a lot of those things. Gino, it's a good question, but that's the last thing on our mind right now. It's about re-signing
Right.
a 32-year-old veteran.
Right.
Who's actually helped our quarterback out tremendously.
Anyway,
I would love to see
yeah.
him back. I would love to see him back. But that's on the back burner right now.
I miss Dan Hampton. Really? Is that what we talking about?
Oh no. Oh Lord.
I got nothing.
I digress on that one.
Yeah, I got nothing. Think. Yeah, but yeah, Allen's gonna have to come down that price though. I mean, but like a lot of times
we don't even know what his price is though. We don't even know what his price is.
That's true, but with the Doug Plank, but with the career he's had as far as his notoriety is concerned, what you wonder is like guys like that who really want to win, who want to be a part of something, they've made so much money and not just contract but endorsements. And a lot of those guys who basically, they look at something that's fair, but by the same token, they want to ball out and try something different. Some of them are willing to look at it, but then this generation, a whole lot of guys look at that doggone dollar sign as opposed to teams, or they'll do what a lot of these other cats will do is like, okay, well, I'll take less money, but I'll go to like Kansas City.
Well, the thing people need to realize about that is not how much you make, it's how much you keep. So if you making $30 million a year and your expenses are $35 million a year, you're in a bad situation.
Yeah.
If you're making $100,000 a year and your expenses are 60, you're in a better situation. So a lot of these guys from the NFL have really put themselves in a pretty bad situation that they have to keep making those millions or what have you, as opposed to trying to do their planning for retirement a lot better.
But
he said on an interview that he was gonna stay either, and he was gonna go back to LA or stay in Chicago. That's what he said in an interview.
But
David Captain. Yeah.
you know the difference between these guys. The difference between these guys is the guys who don't care about the money will show up during practice on a Swin 10 speed, but the other ones will show up in a Lamborghini.
Yeah. So we're looking at this game with the Bears yesterday. It was good to see the Bears make halftime adjustments because that's something that we had not really seen much of this, since Fluke's tenure. That really when the team would kind of go to halftime, like a game being out 0-16 was pretty much a game that the Bears last year or year before, they definitely would have lost those games. But the CTB make that adjustment on offense. And even though the first half offensively, it seemed bad based off the score, but when you really look at it, I believe they only had 3 possessions.
They had 11.
The Lions
they ran 11 plays. They ran 11 plays in the first half. 11.
One first down, right?
And no first downs.
But Detroit started off the game and they had a 6-minute drive. So when they got the ball, it was like 9 minutes or something on the clock. That's a long time.
Then 3 and out. That makes it even worse.
That's a long time.
You're right.
I mean, but you sitting on that sideline for so long, for 6 minutes. That does take time to get you back into like, dang, I got to get out there and do some stuff now. You ain't sit on there to be sitting on the bench for 6 minutes. That's a long time.
And that's another reason why I get this Bears defense. Like I said, they got gassed, but I give them so much credit because they went 3 and out. The Lions drove down the field. Then our offense get the ball. It's 3 and out. Then they back on the field. Detroit drives down the field. We get 3 and out, and they back on the field. We ran 11 plays in the first half, not the first quarter, the first half.
And we held them those field goals on a lot of those, so that made the difference.
So for them not to even give up touchdowns, and hold, like I said, in between the 20s, the Bears would, they gave up everything from 20 to 20. But once they got in the red zone, they was able to be stout and hold them the field goals, and that's what kept us in the game. And like I told y'all yesterday, I'm like, it seemed like we getting blew out, but we only down 16-0 at halftime.
Yeah, Jay, because I remember at one point I sent y'all a text yesterday in the second quarter. Midway through the second quarter, I sent them a clock screen, and Detroit had the ball about 17 and a half minutes at that point, and the Bears had the ball about 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Now, you would think that much of a time gap that they should have hit about 30. Right.
Yeah.
So I give them credit defensively. And I also look forward to Eric Washington taking over the defense.
Yes, sir.
Me too.
If he could do some other things. Yeah.
Yes. Because you can't wait. You can't wait until you down to now start sending pressure. That irritates me. You don't have 4 guys up front that can get you that consistent pressure. Billings is hurt. Sweat has been hurt all year. The other guys, they just
guys.
They just not it. So at this point,
just the guy.
You gonna wait until they get up. Then you gonna start sending pressure, and then he started sending pressure return. So he would send one guy that would pressure, and the other guy would go over and return. So therefore, it'll keep the offense honest, and that was what was keeping us honest. But while you wait so long, I don't understand. I'm about to get upset. Y'all can talk.
Hey, you know what? I tell you what, Chris, I'm looking at the defense playing, and the DBs are letting wide receivers run down the field unfettered, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst DB play I have seen in years. So luckily they didn't hit long passes, but that was just too many instances where you saw our DBs running behind a receiver that's wide open. A lot of times, our guy Jared was missing the passes, so we appreciate that, Jared. Keep up the good work.
Right.
But I'm hoping that Washington can make a difference here.
That's like my
pick a DB. Are you going?
I want to tell.
Is it going to be Stevenson or is it going to be
Smith.
what's the other guy?
Smith.
Pick one.
I want to tell you.
Rotating that. That's dumb.
I want to tell this Gino. I just want to tell this Gino kid, thank you for watching, but stop trolling.
Yeah. Mark Trestman, man, get out of here, man.
You know what? Stevenson on one play remind me of my grandson. My grandson's a quarterback. This guy's running. Instead of trying to tackle him, the guy running, he right next to him running like this. I'm like, tackle the dude.
Yeah, you know,
Stevenson gets a bad name, but he made some plays.
Trestman is on the Chargers staff, I believe.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's a passing coordinator, consultant.
Yeah,
on their staff.
But guess what? He was a good coordinator. He's a good coordinator. He was a coordinator for San Francisco for a while. He went to Canada and won a Grey Cup and all that. But everybody ain't meant to be a head coach in the NFL. It's only 32 jobs.
Right.
Only 32 jobs.
Whoop, there it is.
You know, hey, we definitely appreciate it, Gino. Input and everything.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, Gino.
Thanks for coming through.
Yes. Hey, let's start getting into some grades in this game. I know we went a little bit over tonight, but hey, that's okay. I mean, we got a lot of people out watching, and they wanted to see what our opinions on about firing Flus. But all of us in agreement, we happy this move was made. Most of us wanted him fired at the end of last season.
Yeah,
we didn't think it was a good move, not lining the quarterback with the head coach so they could be on the same schedule. So we're happy that happened. Hey, y'all got any grades right now on the offense?
I'll go first. I'm gonna give it an A-.
A- on the offense? Okay.
Because it's a division. Let me give you more context to it. One, like I was telling you earlier, Bernard, this ain't really the offense. He running somebody else's stuff. He got a little wrinkles in there. So to see him run something that's not his and put up 20 points consecutively in 3 games is impressive. And you doing that with a rookie quarterback. And you doing that with an offensive line that's been unhealthy all year. And you've done that in 3 games. I gotta give you an A-, because I don't know who could do that. I mean, you played our Packers, who've been beating us. You came back, get us within a field goal to win the game. You was down in the Vikings game where they played just defense that will confuse you. You come back, you put up 27 points in that game. This game, you didn't have that many possessions in the first half, and then you come back in the second half. 3 touchdown passes for a rookie quarterback. I gotta give you an A-, my dude. I got to. A- to me.
Okay. What you got, Jay? You look like
man, Chris, you just swayed me. You just swayed me because those are some very, very valid points. And you talking about against 3 division foes. So I'm gonna have to swing on your coattails and go with an A- too, because I was finna be very critical about not having any offensive fire in the first half. But after listening, I tend to agree. I tend to agree.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm going to echo your sentiment. I'm going to echo your sentiment and give them an A-.
Okay, well, Christian, that's a persuasive argument. Okay. However, they did do these play these games against the Lions, who were the number 1 defense. The week before that, we're looking at the Vikings that were number 1 or number 2 at the time. So it's not like they're doing this against any defense out there or a bunch of also rans. These are formidable defenses in the NFL. That said, we're spending a little bit too much time getting into the offense. Yesterday's game, entire first half, there's no way we can get 11 plays in one half and 1 first down, I think.
None.
So that was a ridiculously slow start. We made up for it a lot of ways, but because of that, we need to have more balance on both halves. So I'm giving the offense a B+, which I think is pretty much a good grade. So that's my assessment.
Okay. You got anything, guy?
That's fair.
Yeah, man, I'm laughing at Greasy Flight because he's a trolling Bears fan. I love that, man, because it's like he's saying the stuff that you think about, but you really don't. So I got to give it up to you, Greasy Flight. For me, because we went to Lindblom, and it's like, you know what? They always graded stuff on the curve, and there was always this one Azer. It was, it was always this one Asian guy that got a perfect score and just threw off the curve. So I got to get a Bears credit for what they did, but I got to give them a B plus, man. I would love to give them an A minus, but A is it's not high, but it's just me. I'm not gonna grade them on a curve. I'm gonna give them a B plus, and it's still solid though. It's still
That's
got an honor
great.
roll. Yeah, they still got an honor roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christian gave a very persuasive argument because I was actually about to get him a C. But when I thought about the lack of possessions and all that, and to put together those drives, and even that last drive, even though it didn't get you the result you wanted, you started up the 1 yard line and you got into position with very little time. So I'm gonna give them a B plus on offense.
Yep.
Hey, what about defense? I think everybody gave the offensive grade. What y'all got on defense?
C minus.
I'm gonna give the defense a B minus. I'm gonna give them because again, as much as they got gassed, Montgomery ran for 88 yards.
Yeah,
Gibbs ran for 87. I think Goff threw for what? 2 and some change.
I think 221.
2 and some change and 2 touchdowns, I believe. And they only
turnover too. They had a turnover.
221. 2 T's, 1 interception.
And they still only scored 23 points.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it could have been 28-0 at halftime. So for them with the injuries to Montez Sweat, because he out there struggling. He's out there struggling.
Ankle.
No Billingsley, no Brisker. So I'm gonna have to get so I will give them a B plus because again, between the 20s, you know, they made plays. They made plays.
Yeah.
Okay. I see Chris Beasley give the defense
what?
A plus.
Go ahead, Dano. Okay.
Then the offense
a B.
Okay.
I'll go with Jay. They did have a turnover with Deshaun Stevenson caused that fumble.
Yeah, that fumble.
Y'all, getting turnovers is always that's great. Turnovers are always good. You going into the game not healthy, and you still kept that team to 23 points. I gotta give you a B. I gotta go with that B minus. What was it? B minus or B plus, Jay?
B plus for me.
I'll go with B plus.
Okay.
And Chris came up. Chris said, for them to be on that field that entire time, because they was on the field for a lot of plays, and it was a bend, but they didn't break. So I had to give it to them, man. I had to really give it to them. They gave up 7 points in the second half after giving up 16 in the first half. So I had to give it to them.
Okay. For defense, good arguments. Thank you so much. And I'm looking at a tale of two halves. First half, we getting gashed. There's no way that we can allow the other team to control the ball as much as they were and running 4, 5, 6 yards of play. So that's a bad thing. That said, when we got into the red zone, the defense tightened up both on the first and the second half. Second half, that's a hell of a defense holding that team to 7 points. And you remember Detroit then scored a couple of 50 burgers recently.
Yes, indeed.
Where everybody thought they were a juggernaut. That said, I expect a little bit more from the Bears defense. I always do. But 23 points based on my metric, the league average is now 22 points a game, 22 and a half. So the Bears were right where they need to be. I still gave them a B plus.
Okay, gave a B plus. Got that on here.
Yeah.
Yep. So hey, I'm gonna get a defense a B. I thought they rallied late and they did what they had to do. They got the turnovers, almost had 2 turnovers. So can't ask for more than that other than get teams off the field early on. And some of that just coaching, right? You got to put pressure on the quarterback. Can't let the quarterback stand back there and just have all day to throw. Anybody else agree? Everybody got their grades?
I didn't.
What you got, guy?
I'm going to get a defense B plus, and I think that what people don't realize is that disparity is like the amount of time that the Colts had time possession with the Bears. it's almost a mirror image of the game prior with us with the Vikings, where it was like 20-9 or something like that, and they caught up. I can't remember which one of you guys said it, but it's like, you know what? It's always these great teams out here letting guys stay in games.
Bernard, he said
Yeah,
all the time. He's like, y'all let
you
these
know what?
bad teams hang
Right.
around.
Right. Yep, exactly. But here's the deal, though. What a lot of people look at is they look at the course of the game and they look at the end of the stats and say, it's whatever. You got to get a defense credit because them dudes was gas, but them dudes basically played like if somebody scored, it was going to be something was going to happen to their mom or something like that. Even for what they have with Briscoe being out, with guys being out, and the attrition that they dealt with, I gotta give them a B+, man. Them dudes balled out, regardless of what the score says.
Yeah, and they didn't quit. If you think about it, in a game like that, man, things are not going well, and all that is easy, and you probably kind of losing confidence in the coach and the coaches, the defensive coach as well. Those guys didn't quit. They hung in there and they played to the end. And they got that stop where that punt took place, right? Because that last stop was crucial because that's how the Bears actually was able to get that possession, even though it started on the 1 yard line, was that they ended up getting that play. Special teams, y'all got grades on special teams? Because they didn't have no field goals or anything, did they? No.
They had a block. They had a missed field goal. Cairo Santos is starting to look like a liability and more than he is a benefit. And I'm giving special teams a horrible score because of Deontay Carter. As a kick returner, it's your job to not put your team in a horrible position. Okay? So he was so afraid based on his fumble last week, he didn't even try to field the ball. That's how the ball got on the 1 foot line to begin with to give us 99 yards that had to go for a score in the fourth quarter. So from Detroit's standpoint, that's how you want to play special teams. From our standpoint, he put us in a situation in the fourth quarter with 3.5 minutes left with a rookie quarterback to have to go 99 yards to score. So those two problems with the special teams, I'm giving special teams a C-. And I think I'm also putting Coach Hightower. Them special teams all of a sudden started looking pretty suspect.
I'm gonna give him a C. I'm gonna give him a C. It ain't no explanation. They was just average. So when you average, you get a C.
Yeah, I'm going with a C-. They lucky to get it because I'm being generous. They lucky to get it because it should be honestly an F because you need to field the ball right there. Not let it. You can't do 2 weeks in a row and it's your fault. Because last week it was his fault. The reason why Vikings we got into scoring position, and then this week is your fault again by allowing the ball get literally down after one. So I'm gonna give him a C-.
Okay, I'm gonna get special teams. I'm gonna get special teams a C-. I'm gonna keep saying this, and I know people gonna be like trying to beat me up and say this. The Bears seriously have to start looking at a field goal kicker. I ain't saying they may find one. I'm not saying get rid of Santos. I'm just saying look at somebody. He's starting to be a liability. Yeah, I'm gonna keep emphasizing this. He missed a couple of extra points last year. He didn't have field goals blocked this year. His kicks sometimes don't go to the end zone. Just look at some guys. That's all. I'm not saying get rid of them. Just look at some guys.
You know what?
Guys are moving 55 yarders. We was already yesterday when they got to the 40 saying, "Oh, we know he can't kick it." You got guys in the league kicking 55 and 58-yard field goals.
Well, yeah, if he can't drive the ball in the air and he's got to put it on a liner
inside on the indoor.
Yeah, that's what's causing it.
Indoors, there's no wind, man. Come on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. You have to get another kicker.
You know why I didn't give the special teams my special grade that only I can give? When y'all were kids, how many of y'all had G.I. Joe dolls? Did you? Oh, I'm the only one that had a G.I.
I still got one now, man. Forget
that. You know how his leg is on the hinge? Tory Taylor's leg is like this, dude. This dude averaged 55.8 yards per kick, and that's the only reason why I'm giving them a C. Because the rest of it
wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And so, coach and head coach, get some after this game.
Come on, bro. We can close the show, man.
That's for fire.
When your coach is fired after the game, there's no question what grade they
Right.
No, but again, let's put notice, Hightower on notice, because his special teams, he's not being accountable for them. They need to do better. Let's hope that Washington does a better job with our defense, because Eberflus did a competent job for the most part with the defense. And Thomas Brown, as the offense coordinator / head coach, let's hope he brings it so we can bear it down.
Okay. So the next up is the 49ers. 49ers in about 10 days. So they this is what I want to see happen in this game. I want to see that he has the team prepared when they have time. This to me has been a criticism of Flus. Whenever they had time in between games, bye week or whatever it may be, or coming out of preseason, they never look prepared. So I would like to see this team look prepared and not have these 10 days off this at home eating turkey and come back playing like turkeys.
And it's a good thing. It's what they call the mini bye. So, they got time. So I'm hoping that, it's a West Coast game. So I'm hoping that they could actually come out and be respectful. The 49ers ain't that juggernaut that everybody thought they was going to be this year. So it's really like we playing on even. Brock Purdy didn't even play last week. I don't know what his game time stat is going to be. So we should see how we going to look against a formidable opponent. So we'll see.
I'm hoping that being on the sideline doesn't hurt Thomas Brown, because he's been up in the booth,
right,
and he's able to see a whole lot more. So from an offensive coordinator standpoint, let's see if the sideline he can be just as effective. But even with that, he's got more responsibility as their head coach. I hope that doesn't hurt him in the transition. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Chris.
No, you're fine. What I was gonna say is I'm gonna be very, very optimistic on Thomas Brown. I like his swag, and that to me is one of the main things that you need as a head coach. You gotta have swag to be able to walk into a room, to have men be like, all right, we're going to play for this dude. So I like it, because he already, just the way he just talked, just be like, yeah, he got something special about him. So I'm going to say, I think we're going to win. I think he's going to do well. I really do.
Now, I know we ain't got to the pregame because we got a week to get to that, at least 10 days. He asked about Purdy. I don't think Purdy's out for the season. I just think he's out for a few games. But their coach, Callahan, is starting to be under a little fire because he's getting a reputation for blowing games as well. Going all the way back to the Super Bowl they played. And this year, I think they've only won, 5 games? This year,
they're like
5 and 6.
5 and 6. So,
yeah.
They're like even as all Steven. They've given up. They've scored 260 points. They've given up 260 points.
They've lost. That's the definition of average.
Yeah, they lost. They lost.
I don't know how y'all feel, but for me, the firing really gives me it's like that monkey that was on your back, because you look at those 3 games and you we didn't lose because of the players.
Right.
Yeah. That Washington game, had he did what he was supposed to do, and really how Detroit was defending the sideline against us yesterday and not letting us. If we would have did that, it wouldn't have been no Hail Mary. Game is over. Okay, you call a timeout yesterday. We playing overtime. Who knows what happens? So you looking at 3 games that we should have won that really wasn't because of the players. So that's why I'm like, who knows what can happen? We might win all 4 games, and then we looking at the schedule. Are we 9-8? Not 9-8.
8-8 with a Green Bay game left.
Yeah, 8-8.
8-7.
8. Okay.
No.
Oh, it'll be 8-9. No, he talking about right now. You'll
We
be
went
8.
out. We went out.
We'll be 8-3
Yeah.
because we played
That
11
looked
games,
awful
right?
good. Yeah.
And then now you
11.
can't say. For
Now we
me,
played
I
12
want.
games.
I want to keep continuity. I don't want because like Jake hit on it earlier. I remember when Mike Martz became a head coach and everybody thought he was a second coming.
Yeah.
And he went to one Super Bowl and he was trash the rest of. You don't know what these other guys gonna do. And then too, do you really want to see Caleb learn something different? No, I want to see TB be successful. So you can say, all right, my dude, we ain't seen you on the job. We're going to hire you. That's what I want. That's what I want. I don't want to see change because we've done that too many times. We really got a quarterback now. Don't mess this up. You going to get somebody who you ain't think was going to come available. And then you say, all right, we got to have him. But no, Ben Johnson, I don't think he's better than TV. They both are on the same level. They never did it. So you can't just be saying, "Oh, he's better than him." How do you know that? You've never seen him in that role before.
Right.
Yeah. I do agree with who's this? Keith. You know what? This team has enough talent to have one more games. I know they have deficiencies on the offensive line, the defensive line. Still, with that, they have enough talent to have one more games than what they did. I know Plank alluded to the 4 game. Just a little bit better coaching in some of those games, and those outcomes are most likely different than what we've seen this year. But hey, let's get ready to shut it down for tonight. And Christian, we'll be back. We'll talk offline to see when we want to do the 2-minute drill to break down something. Because I know we haven't did one about 2 weeks. So we got the Packers game. Well, actually 3. We got the Packers game, the Minnesota game, and we got the Detroit game.
Yeah.
Real quick, a real quick shout out to Mo Man. You know what weekend it is.
Uh-oh.
Michigan, Ohio State.
What weekend it is.
I don't think Michigan
But I'm not
got
a man.
chance
But you
this
know
week.
what? But you know what? Guess what? But you know what? Guess what? I'm not a person to kick a man when he's down.
Yes, you are. That's the best time to kick him.
Michigan is having a down year, so I ain't gonna even kick him. But it is a rivalry. But we playing at the Horseshoe tomorrow. So good luck to you, Mo Man, and your Wolverines. And go Buckeyes.
Okay.
That ain't looking good for him.
Mo been deceptively quiet, ain't he?
That's why I say I'm not gonna kick a man while he's down.
He been hiding from you, Jay, all season, man.
That's why I'm not gonna kick a man while he's down.
I ain't saying nothing. Mo Man probably gonna beat me up when he see me. Mo Man, I'm with you, brother.
That's the best time to kick him. Forget that.
But how about my Colorado Buffaloes though?
Hey,
9-3.
Hey, they did their thing today.
They might sneak in.
Yeah.
If somebody lose, they might get in.
They might get in. Yeah.
They look better than a 9-win, 9-loss Alabama team. So there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and hit the subscribe button before you tune out tonight. And enjoy your holiday. Until next time, peace.
Peace.